Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Countering a Hero with Mountie Tala. I'm going to go through some basic ideas on learning how to counter your enemy. Your biggest advantage when it comes to countering the enemy hero is knowing what your enemy does, and having as much knowledge about the enemy hero as possible. The first lesson in countering is knowing what your enemy's abilities are. If you don't know or understand what or how an enemy hero works, this will make it very difficult, if not impossible, to counter them. The more heroes you play and learn, the better player you will become. Knowing just what an enemy's abilities do isn't always enough. The more knowledge you have about an enemy hero, the better. And not just knowing what the enemy's abilities can do, but how your own abilities can affect the enemy hero, and counter how they work. For instance, using your zombie wall as an gazebo and standing in the middle of it, so you don't get hit by enemies' melee attack, is a great idea to counter melee. Being able to think of new ways to use abilities can help you and can give you a huge advantage, especially if the enemy team isn't expecting it. Just because your idea doesn't always work, doesn't mean it's not a good one. Let's take a look at enemy cooldowns. When an enemy hero uses an ability, knowing the amount of time left on that ability's cooldown is something you are going to want to know, especially against heroes that do a lot of burst damage or heroes that have escapes. Knowing the fact that your enemy Vala just used her vault and you know she can't use that again for another 10 seconds opens up a window of opportunity where you can dive her and she can't escape. Or if a Jaina just laid down her full combo, she won't be able to do burst damage again for roughly another 10 seconds. On top of cooldowns, understanding talents and the way they work or augment abilities is crucial. If you know the cooldown of Falsad's barrel roll, which is 14 seconds, but he takes the talent Flow Rider, which reduces the cooldown by 40%, you know he can use it again in 8.5 seconds, thus maybe changing your decision on whether to attack him or to play more defensively. Even knowing the enemy's active abilities, say like Tychus takes both First Aid and Stone Shield, you know he's not going to be that easy to take down anymore. And it may be better to focus on a different enemy assassin who will be easier to kill. Remember, don't take a build just because it has the highest win rate on Hot Slot. Build your hero to counter the enemy. Countering a hero is not just limited to knowing just about the enemy hero. Understanding an enemy's team composition and your own team's composition is just as important. Going into a 2v1 fight against an Illidan, knowing an Abathur can easily pop his hat on Illidan, means you shouldn't commit to a fight unless you are 100% for sure that you can kill him without a doubt and not dying yourself. Another situation may be if you're a warrior and the enemy team has lots of heroes that use auto attacks, you're going to want to take the Imposing Presence talent to help control the enemy team's basic damage output. Okay, we're going to go through some points here of what we learned today. Here we go. Knowing what your enemy abilities are and how your enemy works. Knowing how your abilities affect the enemy and thinking of new ideas. Keeping track of enemy cooldowns the best you can. Understanding talents and how they affect your decisions. Not always building the exact same build because it's OP. Understanding enemy team composition and how it affects your decision making. And remember, don't just counter an enemy hero, counter the enemy team. Well guys, with all that said, there's much still to know. This is just some of the solid basics that I find important to helping new players. I'm going to do more in-depth reviews on how to counter specific heroes in the Nexus, and hopefully you guys come back and watch those too. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you guys again. Thanks guys.